gentlemen, and welcome to the historic 50th edition of Warring to Attitude. I am your host, Brent Piles, and I could never war to Attitude all on my lonesome. There's no way I could have got 50 episodes without the ballroom brawling, disco dancing, dynamite stretching, intercontinental playboy. Folks, he's more over than the coded crybabies at J. Wilson at Glenn Abbott. Glenn, how are you?
How do we do it? They reckon that most podcasts don't last past 10, 15 episodes.
Yeah.
And yet we've got multiple ones now between us that have gone 50 and beyond.
Plus 50, yeah. Way past 50.
We must be doing something right.
I do this out of spite, Glenn. I don't do it because people listen to it. I do it out of spite. I'll do it until you listen to it, goddammit, or until I die, one or the other.
Yeah, I think that could definitely be said with the Mayor of Superstars, that we do it out of spite rather than...
Goddamn right. I do
and the love of bad jobbers as well, of course.
Well, the love of bad-haired jobbers. And so the fun thing is, like, now, since I found those older episodes on YouTube, I can actually put the show on YouTube with the Wrestling With Us, and I don't get copyrighted for that. I don't know how that works or why that is, but yeah. So it'll be nice now if we go back to like the 88, 89, 90 episodes of WF Superstars. We'll also be able to put those on YouTube too, so people will be able to watch along with us.
Well, there's statutes and limitations, isn't there, on these sort of things? It's like so early to mid 90s, really good dance tunes are being used in adverts now.
Oh, yeah.
Like 25 years and the statute of limitations is up.
When I was watching the Super Bowl, they had Flow Riders Low.
Yeah.
As one of, and I said, I am so fucking old because I remember when that was popular and now it's in fucking commercials.
Yeah, yeah, and me.
God damn it.
I was playing that as a tune in a club on a dance floor.
Oh, I mean, yeah. I mean, yeah. How could you not?
Exactly. And there it's in adverts, making everybody feel old.
That was before Flow Rider became the official WWE rapper. It's now been taken over by The Weeknd, I think, but it used to be Flow Rider.
Yeah, yeah.
Every fucking pay-per-view theme was Flow Rider every time. Now it's The Weeknd.
Anyway, well, there's other things to talk about.
What do you mean?
Well, our team, half the team managed to score again last night.
Who put the ball in the Sheffield net? Who put the ball in the Sheffield net? Who put the ball in the Sheffield net? Half the fucking team did. Yeah.
Yeah. 5 different scorers and an own goal. And a 6-0 win.
Yeah, see, people try to say Saka didn't score, but Saka confused them so much that he made them score on themselves. So I'm giving that one to Saka.
Yeah, yes, yeah, that's right.
Yes, Glenn, it was a lot of fun.
Bigger fish to fry with him. That's why they took him off.
Yeah, no, I get it. I mean, totally, yeah. Get him off the field as much as possible because we need him out there as much as possible. We got Brentford Saturday, and then I think we play City, and then we play Chelsea right after that too, don't we?
Yep. Yeah, it's not. That's some idiot on the X said Arsenal have had a very good, easy run of matches. Forgetting totally missing the point that we beat Liverpool.
Yeah.
And Newcastle.
Right. Like Newcastle and West Ham, we beat West Ham 6-0. West Ham's like 8th in the table. They're not a terrible team.
No.
I get what you mean against like Burnley, against Sheffield, but not those two teams. Those two are good teams. Teams that beat us earlier this season.
Yeah. I can't understand people who are okay. They're just jealous.
I'm starting to learn like what you used to say, and I didn't understand it, about how like everybody's out for Arsenal, and it feels like everybody is always out. Arsenal and Liverpool seem like to be the two teams that everyone's always out for. And everybody, and then like the rest of the teams, Chelsea and Manchester United, we all just like to troll them. Like all the other teams fans just like to troll them because they spend so much on their team and they still are shit.
Yes. Yeah.
That's what I'm starting to realize.
Yeah. Yeah, so another good win. Confidence is high with the football, so that's good.
Yeah, we were able to get some. We were able to get Jesus was itching for a goal. He was just hoping he could get one in, but unfortunately, I think he was the only one in the second half who said, "You know what? I'm scoring." Everybody else was like, "Let's just practice some passing and see what we can do." Jesus is like, "No, I'm putting one in the fucking net."
Yeah. That's it. Was it with Ben White, the defender, that scored?
Yep. Hell of a strike by Ben White. I recently found out that a nickname for him is Benny Blanco, which I think is pretty good.
Benny Blanco, yeah. That's good.
Ben White, Benny Blanco, it's the same thing.
Yep.
Goddamn Manchester United. Why did they have to go and score the one goal and make us think that they might be able to pull it off, man? Why'd they have to do that?
Yeah, well, look at who they've got up front.
I think I said on Threads, how you can't expect to win when you possess the ball for 8 seconds.
Yeah. Anyway, enough of that.
That's enough of the football chatter for one week. We'll do it again next week. Let's get to WWF. Raw is War from October the 6th, 1997. Took place from the Kemper Arena in Kansas City, Missouri. Does a Kemper Arena mean anything to you, Glenn?
No.
It will here in a second. The Kemper Arena opened in September 30th of 1974. No, that's not why. It is now known as the Hy-Vee Arena, and if you live in the Midwest of the United States, you'll know Hy-Vee as a grocery chain. Not a lot of people they don't have them nationwide, but they're mainly in the Midwest. I always remember this because my grandma came to visit us once from Chicago when my mom was having surgery, and she saw this Hy-Vee sign, and she said, "What's a Hy-Vee store?" So that's always made me laugh. It held the men's Final Four in 1988, and this arena has held many wrestling events over the years from the NWA, WCW, and WWE, including Slamboree 2000 and Backlash 2002. Unfortunately, this arena is best known for wrestling fans as for the 1999 Over the Edge pay-per-view where Owen Hart unfortunately tragically fell to his death. So that's like most people know this arena when they hear the name Kemper Arena, unfortunately. And I checked the Hy-Vee Arena's website, Glenn. They don't have any upcoming events, but you can rent one of their many basketball courts for $70 an hour if you're in Kansas City and you want to get your hoops on. Glenn, how big of a sport is basketball over there?
It isn't really.
No, they don't have like teams or anything?
Yeah, they do, but it's not a great. Despite the TV trying to make it, it's one of those sports that the BBC put on.
Yeah.
Because they can't compete with the likes of Sky, BT Sport.
Because they've got all the good sports on.
They're paid all the money to get all the good sports.
Yeah.
Early hours of the morning, we might get a basketball match on.
Okay. But is there like an English Premier Basketball League?
I don't know. I think so.
Well, goddamn, pal.
I know we have professional teams. So, because they managed to rustle up a.
Now I've got to know. Talk amongst yourselves, people.
Yeah. Shouldn't take that long to look up. Your cage is looking very empty today. What's happened to everybody?
Most of the guys are sitting out here next to the cage. I don't know if you can see them, but I got.
Oh, yeah, there they are.
So I've got Evolution facing off against the Four Horsemen right here. They're facing off. Ric Flair's here on the side here because he's not quite sure which team he wants to ride with, and I got the Shield patrolling things right behind him. So
very good.
That's my setup. All right, Glenn. I can't find anything about an English Premier Basketball League.
All right. Well, we don't then.
I found something about the Persian Basketball League. Does that do anything for you?
No, not really.
Okay, I didn't think so. But yeah, I was just interested to know because I know, like, in the Olympics, they field like an English basketball team because there was a player, Luol Deng, and he played for the Chicago Bulls for a number of years, and he was from the Sudan, but I think he migrated over to England, and so he ended up playing for the English national basketball team. So I know they do have a national team.
Yeah.
So there is that. I haven't seen them I think I saw them once in the Olympics. I don't think they make it very often. So I was just interested to see what a big sport basketball is.
No,
this, of course, is the Fallout show from In Your House, Bad Blood. I don't know why, but it feels like we recorded with Dan like a month ago, doesn't it?
It does. It feels like it was ages ago, yet it was only like Monday week.
Yeah, it was like 8 days ago.
Yeah.
But it feels like it was forever. I feel like I was a different person then. But we are on the road to Survivor Series 1997, and we are ready for the Undertaker and Kane feud to really kick off here. They start the show out, of course. If you did listen to the Bad Blood review, you will know that was the night that Brian Pillman was found passed away. And so they did a little 10-bell salute for him with all the wrestlers out on the ramp to start the show.
Yeah, and that's where they should have left it.
And that was really, I was going to say, that was really nice of Vince, considering what he would fucking do later.
Yeah, exactly.
So the start of the show, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, and Chyna make their way down to the ring. I'm surprised that Shawn Michaels can even walk after the ass kicking he took from the Undertaker.
Yeah.
I saw a sign in the crowd that said, "Hey Bischoff, bite me," which I thought was interesting. Poor old Michael Cole on this one, huh, Glenn?
Talk about you. People wondering why the WWE is like it is now. These two guys that are just about to wedgie Michael Cole now run the ring company.
Yeah.
That is why you're going to get a bit of juvenile humor in there occasionally. Just enjoy it, people.
As a man that hosts a wrestling podcast that mostly based around watching bad wrestling and making sophomore humoric jokes, I like a little bad. I like a little of that on every show. I don't want it like as much as like I don't know. We're gonna get to what Bret Hart says a little bit later. Now that's a little too far, a little too edgy.
Yeah,
what Bret Hart said, but yeah, I like a little bit of that humor every now and again. It's good to have it around. I mean, it doesn't need to take place all the time. But every now and then, sprinkle a little in there, a little potpourri. I like it.
The whole thing about this, it was quite good, and it was obvious that Vince hadn't sort of okayed this because they'd already been threatened with WCW over the images of Diesel and
right
Razor Ramon.
Luckily, fake Diesel and fake Razor were gone by this point, so people weren't confused.
No, but they managed to sneak the real Nash and Hall in on the. Although it was very blurry, the footage.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's like fan recorded footage too, because it was a house show, and yeah. So yeah, I mean, they talk about the match, and the Undertaker, Shawn Michaels is like, clearly, I'm the WWF want to put an end to me, but they couldn't because I'm here, and the Undertaker isn't. And he talks about how he took the Undertaker down, and he is the new icon of the WWF. I think it was a shot at Hulk Hogan because Hulk Hogan was calling himself the Icon on the other channel at this point, and he referred to himself as the Icon who could still go. And then he proclaims the Clique as the biggest force in the world of wrestling today. And why y'all might not like them motherfuckers, in 1997, they had it on lock.
They did. You know,
you might not like it, but it was a fact.
Across both companies.
Yeah.
No, they were the cross. If they'd actually not actually gone to war, if they'd actually sorted their differences out, there would have been some great crossovers earlier.
Oh, God, that would have been great. Yeah. Yeah. Even today, say if somehow they could figure out a way to work together today, AEW and WWE, I mean, forget about it. The numbers that you would sell on pay-per-view, and ego's probably going to come into play, and that's probably why it doesn't happen. And everybody's got an ego, whether they say they got one or not. You know what I mean?
They're building to it. The fact that Michael Cole last night on Raw actually mentioned Sting's retirement match, it shows that WWE aren't that worried about AEW.
And Cody said, so he said, yeah, it's stinging me. So even Cody dropped a reference.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of people out here who think, oh, Vince probably still has something to do with it. If that doesn't prove to you that he doesn't, I don't know what will, because he would have never allowed that to happen.
No.
Or I just saw The Rock literally owns all of his catchphrases now. Do you think Vince would let The Rock own all of his catchphrases? Fuck no, he wouldn't. Fuck no, he wouldn't. So they say they're going to show footage from Bad Blood, but then as Glenn said, they throw up the footage from the curtain call in Madison Square Garden in '96. They start messing with Vince. They say, "Does that make you mad, Vince, when you think about it? Is your father rolling over in his grave? Did we ruin wrestling forever?" They go on and on. Then finally, Bret, they actually go to a commercial. They go to a commercial, come back, and Shawn Michaels and Hunter are still berating Vince McMahon. When they come back. Finally, Bret Hart comes out to put an end to all this, and let's hear from him.
Welcome you back. USA, you can go ahead and look at your big hero, because this is what it's come down to. You should have no self-respect for yourselves, because you're looking at somebody that's got no respect for anything or anybody. You're a disgrace to professional wrestling. You know, I'm a second-generation wrestler. I paid my dues like a lot of second-generation wrestlers. And you are nothing but the lowest form of scum that I've ever come across. You may have barebacked your way to some kind of main event, one pay-per-view after another, but the fact is, I make more money than all three of you guys combined in the ring. And this here is what it's all about. And until you have this, I don't care what you say or what you think, but you will never, ever, ever be the showstopper until you take this thing away from me. Shawn Michaels, the Click, and those other two guys that you got with you. Well, you know what? Your other boyfriend, Diesel and Razor, I ran those two guys out of town. And I'm going to run both of you out of town. And you know what? I'm going to start with that degenerate right beside you in the green shirt, Hunter Hearst Helmsley. Tonight, I issue you a challenge to step in the ring with the best there is, the best there was, and the best that there ever will be. Yeah, but do you want him to wrestle you tonight? The question is, do you want him to wrestle you?
Can't you see that Pretty Deadly have studied Michaels and Triple H in this time?
From the facial expressions, yes.
The facial expressions and the hand gestures and everything.
Yeah, you can definitely see it. Bret said some homophobic things, I guess you could say, and that promo too. And I wasn't gonna leave that in there because like that's words that I don't think he said words that I don't think anybody should say. And I want to preface this by saying that I don't know if this is a fact, but I've heard stories that Shawn and Hunter were pressing for Bret to say that to them. Like they wanted Bret to call them that. And so I kind of just want to put that out there. Like, yeah, Bret did say that stuff, but I think he was pushed to doing it. I don't think Bret really wanted to do it. And in 1997 was a whole different time. Unfortunately, in 1997, I probably said shit like that. I wish I hadn't, but I probably did. You know what I mean?
We have a lot of... I watch because there's crap on the TV now. I watch a lot of the old stuff that I used to watch when I was sort of a kid and a teenager.
Yeah.
Then nearly every one of them is prefaced by the warning that it contains cultural and other things that were relevant for the time, but maybe a bit inappropriate now.
Yeah. I mean, go back and watch any of the early 90s sitcoms that people really love or anything. It's littered all over it. And there's really nothing you can do about it. I was just surprised because I've always heard since WWE switched over to Peacock that, they're going to edit this, that, and the other out. Well, why the fuck wouldn't they edit that out? If they're editing it out shit, I think that's what you would pick, right?
That's right. Yeah.
So maybe that's bullshit. And they ain't editing out anything.
No.
That's so yeah. Basically, Shawn Michaels says he's got 2 words for Bret Hart. That's suck it. And then he goes on to just lay waste to Bret Hart, basically saying the only way that you're able to get into main event in this company is if you're wrestling me. That's it. It's the only time.
And he also basically said, you didn't try Diesel and Razor out. They went. They left the company to expand the clique, which I think was a great way to say it.
Yeah. And they also left to make a whole lot more money. That's why they left. So
Yeah.
So the first matchup we get is a lumberjack match, Glenn. And it is the Headbangers battling the Godwins. It's a rematch from what we saw the night before. Can you name any of the lumberjacks you saw here, Glenn?
And I wish the lumberjacks had been fighting rather than what was in the ring.
Well, that's true. I saw one lumberjack, Glenn. And do you know who it was?
Go on. I know that.
Oh, yeah! It was Rockabilly, Glenn! And because we don't know if we're going to play again, let's do it! Turn it up! Woo! Rockabilly! Yeah! Billy, sing my song tonight. Oh, yeah! Oh, and I don't know if we're ever going to see Rockabilly again, so I had to take this opportunity to play the theme song one more time. At least.
Yeah, I was going to say, there was the Disciples of Apocalypse, Rockabilly, obviously, the Sultan, Flashbug, the new Blackjacks. So you got Billy and Bart Gunn out there under different guises.
Oh, yeah.
Legion of Doom, the Truth Commission, Los Boricuas, and the Nation of Domination.
I thought it was very strange that, like, the Nation of Domination, the Los Boricuas, and the DOA all just going to stand around out there looking at each other as much as they hate one another.
It's all right. Yeah, it's all right for Vince at the start of the show to say that they've all put their differences aside to show respect.
Right.
Yeah. But then why would you have them all standing side by side?
Yeah, it didn't make a lot of sense to me. The funnest thing about this match was the beginning when the Headbangers started doing like crowd surfing through the lumberjacks as the lumberjacks took them around like they were crowd surfing. I thought that was cool.
It was a better match than the Bad Blood one.
Yeah, because it was 4 minutes.
Yeah, and it only seemed like 4 minutes instead of 2 hours.
Oh yeah, their match at Bad Blood was a fucking Iron Man match. It went at least 65 minutes. That thing went to overtime.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't realize, and I don't know if they made it like known or if I just wasn't paying attention, but I didn't realize this wasn't for the tag team titles until midway through it.
No, I didn't either. But of course, there's the obligatory ref bump, which meant that then all the lumberjacks all got involved in the ring, and
yeah, they all hit the ring. Because I think LOD was going after the Godwins because apparently they still hate them. And then finally, when the ring clears, Mosh rolls up.
The ring cleared just as the referee revived.
It's almost as if they had it planned, Glenn.
Yeah.
So the Headbangers do win, but this was not for the tag team titles, as I mentioned. And so, yeah, that was something that happened.
As champions, why would you take that match? And B, why wouldn't the Headbangers be insisting that it's a rematch?
Right. Well, and they said too, like the Headbangers challenged them to this. So, like, why wouldn't you challenge them for the tag team titles? I mean,
that's it. Yeah.
I don't know. And they keep telling us about the interview that they will be doing with Brian Pillman's wife. It's hard to watch, but I did watch it, unfortunately. They also tell us the main event of the evening will be Bret Hart versus Hunter Hearst Helmsley. They also tell us that Jim Cornette is here, and he's got a lot to say about Eric Bischoff.
Yes.
Oh, boy. Be on the lookout for that. We then get a promo from Miguel Perez of the Los Boricuas, and I don't speak Spanish, so I don't know what he said. All the Spanish I know, Glenn, comes from the movie Blood In, Blood Out, Bound by Honor, and that's so I only know curse words and how to say homeboy. That's it. Otherwise, I don't know.
Yeah,
I took Spanish in high school, but they kicked me out of class. A menace. Yeah, so apparently he's going to be taking on Mark Morrow tonight. And that is the match that we get when we come back from the commercial. This is Mark Morrow's first TV match since he wrestled Savio Vega on Raw on February 17th. So he has been out for quite a while.
Which of the Los Barricas was this?
Miguel Perez.
Oh, because I've got it down as Jesus. I don't know why.
I mean, I thought it was. It says Miguel Perez on Cage Match, so that's what we'll go with.
Okay, we'll go with that then.
Unless we're having like a Balls Mahoney Scott D'Amore situation. That's a UTT joke. I hope the guys are listening. They tell us that he hurt his knee while he's been out. He's got a different look, and I gotta know, Glenn, do you like this boxer look better? Do you like it when he was the Wild Man? You like the long hair or the short hair?
This is a lot better.
Do you like this better, or do you like Johnny B. Bad better?
Oh, Johnny B. Bad.
Okay, good answer.
That was the best. That was his best gimmick by far.
Yeah, he was nothing without that gimmick, if I don't say so myself. Nothing against Mark Morrow. He's a great motivational speaker. He seems like a good guy, but he wasn't an entertaining wrestler in the WWF.
No, and that's Vince's fault.
Yeah.
He thought he was going to get away with getting Johnny B. Bad. And Jesse went,
They should have just named him Johnny B. Trad. Or Johnny B. Chad.
Or Little Dicky or something.
Little Dicky. Wow. That would have been a good. Here comes Little Dicky out here with Sable. Jerry the King Law. Something tells me that Dickie's not so little when Sable's in a bikini.
Yeah, exactly. What would that have led to?
It would have led to him being more over than he was.
Couldn't have called him Little Richard, but you could have called him Little Dicky.
I think it's great. They should make a gimmick now called Little Dicky. I can't wait. That's amazing. Sable got the biggest reaction. The King makes a joke about how nobody would care about Mark Morrow if it wasn't for Sable, and he's probably right. I don't know. The match was fine, but it was just two guys that I didn't care about. What'd you think of the new Mark Morrow finisher, the TKO he's calling it?
TKO. It's all right. As you say, it was a match.
Yeah.
The very good thing about it is got to see Sable.
That was probably the best thing about it, yes, if we're being honest with ourselves. He seemed to be very unhappy after the match for a guy who won. You know what I mean? If I could comment on Mark Morrow's demeanor, he looks like he's wearing sandpaper underwear.
Yes.
That's how happy he is.
But he was before his injury as well, if you remember.
That's true. He was.
He's not been a happy bunny for a long while. Which, when you consider that he's got, he's punching well above his weight with Sable,
right? And
yet he's a unhappy son.
Well,
it's no wonder she went to where she did.
Yeah. Well, God dang, pal. Anyway, so next up is the more aforementioned promo from Jim Cornette, and I could try to do this justice, but I ain't gonna.
This is Jim Cornette. No. The views that I'm about to express are not necessarily those of anybody else but me, but they ought to be, and as a matter of fact, they probably are. You know, a lot of things in the wrestling world make me cranky these days, especially the way that some talent is treated and some talent is looked at by not only the promoters, but the wrestling fans as well. For example, a man like Arn Anderson, who just had to retire from this sport after giving it his entire life because of an injury that he suffered. A guy like Nature Boy Ric Flair, who in my opinion is one of the greatest talents in the history of this business. Guys like Mankind, Cactus Jack, Dude Love, whatever you want to call him, great talents in the WWF or WCW. But who gets a lot of the attention from the wrestling fans especially? Guys like the NWO, the New World Order. You know, all the fans think these guys are so cool and so sweet and so funny. Well, as far as I'm concerned, the NWO was like a bunch of guys meeting out in the backyard in a clubhouse in a tree. They're guys who they got the easiest job in the world. All they have to do is go out there and be themselves. Childish, obnoxious, adolescent guys with a case of severe arrested emotional development and a fixation on trying to act macho. You got a guy like Kevin Nash, 40 years old, trying to act like a teenager. As far as I'm concerned, the biggest no talent in the business. He's got 6 moves, no mobility, and enough timing to cover up for some of it. But what he does is he goes around and he manipulates. Kevin Nash had a multi-million-dollar promotional company, the WWF, push him to the moon to make him a star. And then what does he do? He leaves after he gives his word to staying. So, by the way, he's a liar, too. He leaves and he goes to WCW for a big contract. Why? More on that later. You got a guy like Scott Hall, who's a good wrestler, but good's about it. He's the best of the bunch. But he had the same $1 million promotional company make him a star after he'd been in this business 10 years without putting 3 asses in a seat. And what does he do? He goes to WCW for a big contract. Why? More on that later. And then you got a guy, 1-2-3 kid. His name's Shawn Waltman, whatever you want to call him. Well, as far as I'm concerned, the only reason that he's employed is because the other guys think that he's funny when he gets drunk and throws up on himself. He has the distinction, in case you haven't noticed, of being the only guy since this wrestling war got started that was released from a valid contract from one company to go to the other side, which shows you how valuable he is. You know why they're all employed, why they're all in the spot they are today? Because of Eric Bischoff, the boss of WCW, not the NWO. Look at the credits on their pay-per-view if you can get one for free. The idiot's name is on it. He's the boss of WCW. He works for Ted Turner, and he throws a billionaire's money around just like water so that he can have guys that he likes to hang out with. Because even more than being a mark, for his own face and his own voice, Eric Bischoff is a guy who's a big fan of hanging around studly guys with long hair and beards that smoke cigars and ride Harleys so that some of that can rub off on his little pansy-ass frame. So he takes that billionaire's money and he throws it around like water to buy guys that he can hang around with to prove that his Johnson is bigger than everybody else's. And that's the sole reason that the NWO guys are employed. I think, me personally, that it's about time that the wrestling fans and the promoters, all of them in this business, started recognizing guys like Nature Boy Ric Flair, like Arn Anderson, like Cactus Jack, guys who bust their ass, who work hard and have ability and have talent to get where they are, instead of a bunch of guys that get to their spot by hanging around with the boss and sucking up. I'm Jim Cornette, and that's my opinion.
Yeah.
The irony of that is he could have been talking about the Young Bucks today.
Yeah, except for the drunk and throwing up on themselves thing, yeah.
Well, and the whole thing about thinking they're more important than they are. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. My favorite ones were there are a bunch of guys acting like guys hanging out in a clubhouse in a tree, and then they only like him because they think it's funny when he gets drunk and throws up on himself.
Oh, yeah.
Which everybody's got a friend, right, that throws up on themselves, and that's why you hang out with them. Like, oh, there's Greg. Greg's gonna throw up on himself later. I can't wait, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't, but I don't have any friends. You're my only friend, Glenn. You and the mayor. So we come back, and the nation is in the ring. We're going to get Rocky Maivia taking on the British Bulldog, which feels like a strange two heel factions facing off against each other. But I guess Owen Hart and Farouk just faced off the Intercontinental Championship, which ended in a bad fashion for Farouk when Stone Cold got involved and Owen won. So
yeah,
I don't know. This match was short. What do you think?
Yeah, too short. And as much as I'm a fan of Davey, I don't think he should be going over Rocky Maivia here.
I wasn't surprised because I figured that if anybody was going to win the match, it would be Davey. But you're right. I mean, The Rock's the newcomer, that new heel that you're trying to push. You might want to get him a win here. But yeah, I thought if the match could have gotten more time, it went 3 minutes and 45 seconds. But if it had got 10, 12 minutes, it could have been really good.
Yeah. This is one where it was strange because the factions are there, but it was a clean win.
Yeah, neither one of them really got involved.
No, nobody could be asked because they're not really fighting against each other.
Yeah.
This is just a sort of thrown together feud.
Yeah, it was weird. It really was. Did you notice that The Rock did the first sort of people's elbow in this match?
I thought he had done that last on.
Maybe he did, and I missed it. It was a rock bottom, I think he did at Bad Blood.
Oh, it's the rock bottom on the pay-per-view. Yeah, so yeah, the people's elbow was this one.
He didn't go like full-fledged out, but he slammed him down, and he didn't do the whole like back and forth, take the armband off thing, but he kind of did a little bit back and forth with his arms, and then he did hit the rope, and then he didn't do the long pause, but he did drop the elbow.
It's as though he's trying out things to see what works.
If I remember correctly, the story was I think he did it as a joke on a house show. And they were like, "You won't do that on TV." And he's like, "I'll do it on TV." So maybe not. So yeah, Bulldog wins with a running power slam. After the match, of course, it leads to an 8-person brawl because Farouk went after Owen Hart, and they all brawl.
That happened afterwards, which after time we say these brawls should happen after the match is finished and not interrupting the match. This is one time that he should have interrupted the match.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't have hurt it. That's for sure. They tell us that next we're going to find out about Austin's decision. They give us the whole show restart with the fireworks. During this, they show some still shots from the Bad Blood match, Hell in a Cell match. And if I hadn't ordered the pay-per-view and watched it, those still shots would have made me want to see it. So then they also show us what happened, in the Intercontinental Championship match between Farouk and Owen Hart when Stone Cold got involved to help Owen win. Vince and then Austin comes out to the ring. Vince got a clipboard in his hand. He first asks him why he did what he did last night at Bad Blood, and Austin tells him because he does what he wants when he wants.
Yeah, that's it.
And he doesn't have to answer any questions. And then Vince says, "Okay, if you want to play hardball, that's fine." He's like, "Oh, I see you don't have any paperwork, so clearly you don't have anything from a doctor saying you can compete." And he says, "Well, jackass, I ain't been to the doctor, so hell no, I ain't got no papers." And then he tries to get him to sign his piece of paper, and let's hear what Austin thinks about signing his piece of paper.
But if I was to come out here and sign your little piece of paper right off the bat, I'd be the dumbest SOB in the WWF, and that ain't true. So what I will do is I'll sign your little piece of paper. If you'll sign a piece of paper that says you're going to give me Owen Hart's ass the next opportunity you can give it in an Intercontinental title match, because I won't have it any other way.
There's the method behind his
All right, let me get this straight. You'll sign this and return to action as long as you get Owen Hart in a match. You've got him. Congratulations. You got my word on it.
In an Intercontinental title match, I want to beat the living hell out of Owen Hart. But when you drop Steve Austin on his head, when you damn near paralyze Steve Austin, when you take what's taken me 8 years to get, I want his ass, but I want my belt back. So if I get that, you damn right, I'll sign my life away.
You've got my word on it.
Stunning.
You can put your little hand down in your pocket or wipe your ass with it.
Good Lord.
You don't think for one split second that I'm gonna come out here and shake your hand up and down and expect to trust you. You show me a piece of paper that says I get the match. You show me that piece of paper, you sign that, and I'll sign yours not a second before, and that's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so.
Oh, Punk, let me tell you what the bottom line is. And I'm going to kick your hunk ass. You think that's because you parade around with a bald head and tattoos on each arm that makes you tough? Well, let me tell you what makes you tough. Tough is waking up on a winter's morning having to fight your brothers for one jacket to see who wears it to school. Tough is having to eat collard greens with your hands because you don't have a fork to go around. Let me tell you what tough really is. Getting up on a bright Christmas morning watching your younger siblings cry because they don't have brand new bicycles to ride around on like everyone else. No, you parade around here and use the word ass and think you're a big man. That makes you tough. No, let me tell you where I'm from. And when we use the word ass, what the context is. You stuck your business in your nose and nation business. And let me tell you something, Punk. The way we use the word ass is that your ass belongs to me and the nation. So get it ready, sit on it, look at it all you can right now. Because the bottom line is, it belongs to Farouk.
Shut up. When I get through with my legal problems, when I get all this BS solved between me and Vince McMahon, you damn right I'll take every one of you sorry pieces of trash on.
Bring it on.
Every
Bring it
damn
on.
one of you.
Bring it on.
Because it ain't a race thing, it ain't a color thing, it's a me kicking your ass thing, and can't nobody stop.
Well, you bring it on. We'll see about that, Punk. Don't worry, we'll stop this.
Good.
That was good. I was drawn to The Rock, though, when
Yeah.
Bruce was talking, because he was kind of like moving his head back and forth. And
Yeah, the whole thing though was so good. And Austin at the end there basically saying it's not a race thing, it's not a colour thing, it's a me kicking your ass thing.
that's a pretty classic Stone Cold Steve Austin line there. Yeah. My favorite part was when he told him he could put his hand back in his pocket and wipe his ass.
Yeah.
I thought that was my favorite. Austin leaves the ring. He's messing with the people at the announce booth. He takes the King's crown and boots it into the 18th row, which was hilarious.
Yeah. That's who goes at it as well.
Yeah. They show a kid in the crowd who's got the crown on, which was also hilarious.
Yeah. The King's going mad.
Yeah, that was really good. The next one, another weird match.
No, before
Owen Hart.
just before that, you now have to call 1-900-737 for WWF to hear more of what Jim Cornette has to say.
Oh boy. I would have wanted to call and know after the first thing you said, because that was.
Yeah.
I think those are going to start being weekly things here for a little while, where Jim Cornette's going to rant. So that'll be fun.
Yeah.
Things really haven't changed, have they, Glenn?
No.
They,
He just does it on a podcast now.
yeah, exactly. It's the same thing, just on a podcast. It's Owen Hart. He's going to defend the Intercontinental Championship against Hawk, and Hawk did a little weird 20-second promo. So here you go.
Yeah.
Owen Hart, you and that Hart Foundation are like a loogie stuck in my larynx that I just seem to expel. You're going to be the shortest Intercontinental champion that ever was, because it only takes one good whack to get rid of the loogie.
That's right.
Lovely. Expelling his loogies.
That's right. The Hart Foundation, a bunch of loogies. Yeah, Owen gets on the mic before and he says he can't wait to get his hands on Steve Austin. He's not scared of him, so he can come back and take his best shot. I don't know. The match was like fucking what? If it was only 3 minutes, it felt like 30 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't long.
Yeah, the Godwins end up coming down here. They hit Hawk in the head with a bucket, which brings Animal down. They interfere. I think they hit him with a horseshoe, right?
Yeah.
They hit him with Uncle Cletus's lucky horseshoe.
Yeah.
I'm not making that up. I wish I was, but I'm not. That's the thing that happened. And then Owen Hart wins because of these fucking hog farmers. And yeah, that was for that. I don't know what to say. Yeah. That was what happened. That was the thing that happened. Speaking of things that happened, the next part of the show was where a rotten, terrible old man exploited a poor fucking woman whose husband just died, and now she's a widow to 5 kids. And one of these little kids has already lost their mother, and now they've lost their father. And he's asking her questions about fucking drugs, and it was absolutely heartbreaking and sickening to watch this all at the same time. It was so bad.
I'm glad I didn't watch it, to be honest.
It was so bad. He was asking her, he asked her about, can you tell us why he died? And she, of course, doesn't know yet because it just happened. And he brings up drugs, and she's like, I don't know because I'm not sure. And then he basically he's like, do you have any advice for any athletes out there who are doing drugs? Are you fucking kidding me? Like, why does she have to give advice right now? Like, what are we doing?
Oh, where did he get this idea that it was drugs?
Yeah, I don't know. He's just trying to cover his ass is the only thing I could think of. But he made himself look worse by doing it.
Yeah. 10 times what Dan called him last week.
Yeah. Yes. Go back to the last week's show and what Dan called him, that's exactly what he is.
The big CC.
Capital. Capitalize the whole word and put a bunch of fucking exclamation points at the end of it for this fucking guy.
Yeah. This is quite funny because I have the blog of Doom up
Yeah.
They say about
We haven't
these.
heard from the Blog of Doom in a while.
No, because these are all written back in 2013 or 14.
Right.
The guy that wrote this one, he was saying, "This is probably the lowest point in in Raw history, which says something considering the Katie Vick incident." No, not even close. Sorry.
Yeah, it gets a lot worse. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's gonna get a lot worse. Yeah, and then after the interview, they show a really nice video package, which was good, and which is what they should have done instead of having this fucking interview.
Yeah, and even Vince talked over the top of that.
Yeah,
It was JR and the King trying to be, trying to be reverent about it, and then Vince is just cutting them off. It's as though somebody hasn't told him that it's not a work.
Yeah, it's like what Dan said. He shows that he is incapable of understanding a human emotion. Like he doesn't.
Yeah. No, he doesn't understand it at all, does he?
And yeah, if just when you thought you couldn't hate Vince McMahon more, he keeps on. And that's like the trick. That's the problem now when you cover this shit is because you got to talk about him because he's on the show, but at the same time you don't want to talk about him. But you could say that about a lot of wrestling because there's been a lot of nefarious people involved in wrestling.
Yeah,
and, we're going to cover many more nefarious peoples in years to come. So, unfortunately, so then we get Glenn, the Hardy Boys. You heard of these guys?
Yeah, well they seem a little bit familiar, but I can't remember where from.
Me young,
fresh-faced youths.
Yeah, probably could do a thing or two in the business. I think they might be all right.
Yeah.
Kids could be okay. Matt and Jeff are their names, apparently. I guess.
Oh,
we'll see if we'll see them again. They're going to be facing the Truth Commission.
Yeah, Sniper and Recon.
But apparently, Sniper got reconned because the lights go out, and Kane makes his way down to the ring for his first appearance on Monday Night Raw, which is bad news for the Hardy Boys because they are double choke slammed and then tossed out of the ring one by one. Paul Bearer then gets on the mic and he tells everybody, laugh at the fat man, but he says that you should be laughing at your hero, The Undertaker, because the proof is here. And since The Undertaker wouldn't take him back and he beat me up, I had to do what I had to do. And they're like zooming in on Kane's eyes, like,
yeah.
And he says he's missing an eye, which I must have missed that part of the story. I don't remember him not having
I don't remember that at all. And they seem to forget about it as well. As the story.
Well, if you'll notice too, when he takes the mask off for a long time, one of his eyes is a different color. So maybe they're trying to play that it was a glass eye.
Yeah.
I just forgot that they say he lost an eye. But yeah, he says he lost an eye and it's all the Undertaker's fault. He says that starting tonight, the Undertaker will walk through every WWF superstar one by one until he can destroy the Undertaker. And he says everything that happens from here on out will be the Undertaker's fault. And the Undertaker, welcome to your worst nightmare.
Doesn't say much for the Truth Commission, though. With two guys that are called Sniper and Recon, can't stop one man from getting to the ring.
Well, he is a monster man who survived a fire as a child, though. So
even so, I wonder why this gimmick never worked.
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't think the Truth. Yeah, I don't know who. The Truth Commission is like a 1990 gimmick. You know what I mean? Like that should have been like a 90s type, 1990 type team, not 1997.
Yeah.
So.
You think, when you think about it, the two guys, the career that the two guys getting squashed in the ring had compared to Sniper and Recon.
Yeah. Which, I mean, I don't remember with Sniper or Recon, but one of them is Bull Buchanan. So he had an okay career, but probably not as good as the Hardy Boys.
No.
Which Briggs Jensen is Bull Buchanan's son, I believe, right? NXT, Briggs Jensen.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Then we get the main event of the evening and what was by far the best match on the show because it actually got double-digit minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Triple H, Hunter Hearst Helmsley battles Bret Hart. Both men come down to the ring. Well, Hunter's only got China with him. Bret comes with nobody. It was a decent match. What did you think of this?
Yes. Yeah, we're moving things along. This is the first time that Hunter Hearst Helmsley is actually billed as Triple H.
Did they call him Triple H?
Triple H, yeah.
Okay, cool. Good. Now we can officially stop calling him Hunter Hearst Helmsley. We can just call him Triple H. That makes me happy. I mean, I could have before, but I didn't want to. Halfway through the match, Shawn Michaels comes down to the ring. He's got the Canadian flag stuck up his nose. I know everybody's seen the videos of him pulling it back and coming.
Yeah.
Everybody's seen it.
Of
And of course, go ahead.
That brings the Hart Foundation out.
Yeah, they of course aren't going to go for this. Yeah, I mean, it was a good back and forth match. You can definitely see that Triple H going forward is going to be, you know, a top tier guy. I mean, anybody can have a good match with Bret Hart, so I guess I really can't say that. But
yeah, but Triple H is not bad either.
No, he's definitely not.
I think even JR's getting a bit fed up with Bret Hart though, because there was one point where he called it as he's too predictable in the ring.
Oh yeah, I heard that too. Yeah, he said that's a bit of a knock on Bret Hart. He said he's too predictable in the ring. Because when Bret was going to come off the middle rope with an elbow, and Hunter got his foot up and caught him in the jaw, and then that's when he said it. Yep. He tries to put the sharpshooter on him, but Chyna helps him get to the ropes, and then he tries to put the sort of the figure four on the ring post on him, but then Chyna goes over there, and Bret Hart is kind of like the first person to put his hand, and he didn't like hit her or anything, but he looked like he was gonna.
Yeah.
So he was the first one to kind of put his hands on her, because I think she went to hit him and he grabbed her hand, but he had his fist cocked back like he wanted to hit her, but he ended up getting super kicked in the face by Shawn Michaels.
Bit of sweet chin music.
Yeah, and Rick Rude had came down too, so he's over there fighting with the Hart Foundation, and so that's why the referee wasn't looking. And so Michaels hits the super kick. They do the 10 count, and Bret loses, and they literally cut the show off the air so quick. It was like match is over, bam, show's over.
Yes, that's it.
Which that doesn't happen very often, but it happened here. So I don't know if maybe there was something on the end they couldn't show that was worse than Bret calling people homos. I'm not sure, because I don't think it could have been, but maybe. So
probably Vince being creepy about Pillman again or something.
Yeah, good Lord knows we didn't need any more of that.
No.
So hold on, my computer's acting funny, so I can tell you the ratings of the show tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on, sorry, my computer.
That's all right. Mine was playing up earlier as well.
There we go. Now I got it. All right, so let's talk about the ratings war for October 6th, 1997. This is actually the best rating that a Raw has gotten since going head-to-head. This is the best rating they've gotten in over 2 months. They got a 311 rating on August the 18th. And today on October, if I can click here, right? On October the 6th, the WWF got a 3.3. I'm fucking lost. I'm in 1998. Here we go. October 6th. They got a 3.00 rating. So that's their best rating in over 2 months.
Yeah.
Last week is at 2.73. So it went up a lot. Still got beat by Nitro, though, as Nitro did a 3.97. But a lot closer than it has been the last few weeks.
Yeah, that's right.
They are starting to maybe come around a little bit on the ratings there. Do you want to know the matches that you might have seen if you had watched Nitro instead of Raw?
Yes, please.
Booker T, who had Jacqueline with him for some reason. I'm not sure when that took place. I don't remember him being with Jacqueline.
No, but...
No, that's weird. And he defeated Jeff Jarrett, who had Deborah and Michael with him.
No complaints of seeing Jacqueline on the screen.
No, I'm not. Yeah, that's not why I was asking. That's totally fine that she's on the screen. Alex Wright defeated Billy Kidman. Ernest the Cat Miller defeated Mortis.
Hey. Oh, that
Scott Hall took on Hector Garza, which is a strange matchup, but it happened. Diamond Dallas Page defeated that son of a bitch Disco Inferno. Eddie Guerrero defeated the Ultimate Dragon, which was probably a hell of a contest.
Yeah.
And in the main event, Kurt Hennig beat Chris Benoit in 5 minutes. So, yeah. So that's basically it. That doesn't sound like an over-the-toply great show to me personally, but hey.
No.
I think I'm okay with my decision, Glenn. I think I'm okay with my decision.
Yes. Yeah.
It's not because we already did 49 of these. It's because I actually wanted to do it.
Yeah.
Well, that's it, Glenn. That's all. You got anything else you want to add before we wrap this one up?
No, it does. It's doing what it needs to do to progress things along.
Yeah.
Every show, no matter how good or how bad, normally bad, the wrestling is, the storylines are progressing things along. And things are slotting into place. It's like a jigsaw puzzle coming together.
Yep. And I think going forward, we're going to find out that the wrestling was secondary for a lot of the time. And I think people forget that part of the Attitude Era. But we're going to make them remember, Glenn, because we're going to make them remember.
They forget that because people concentrated more on the pay-per-views.
Right. And even the pay-per-views, you got 4 or 5 shit matches before you actually got into the meat of the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the meat of the pay-per-view were the ones that everybody talks about.
The Dog Kennel from Hell match took place in 1999, people.
Oh, God.
So, I can't wait to watch that. Glenn, can you believe this? I've been hosting a wrestling podcast for like 7 years, and I've never watched that match.
Have you never watched it?
I've never seen it. Never watched it once.
Oh, well, we'll have to do something about that.
Won't we?
I think that's one that we've got to watch with the mayor, though.
Oh, yeah. No, it's got dogs in it. The mayor was so mad at us if we watched the match without dogs. But yeah, that's it. That's all for this. Glenn, who do you need to plug before you get out of here?
I'm booking the territory with Danny and Rob. With their little side projects, I'm stacking the Dadatory and I'm booking the Tankatory, which is the life and times of Tank Abbott. I'm stacking the Dadatory. They're on the road to Wembley 1981, where Big Daddy met giant haystacks, and 18 million people, the most watched wrestling match ever, watched along with that one live.
They're also doing another one of those weird things where they're doing like a bottle flip tournament podcast too, and it's like Trent takes on John Silver in a flip a bottle contest. So that they're doing that too now. So check it out.
I didn't know about that one.
Yeah. I didn't know about it either until I have a podcast app and I loaded it and it was like, oh, new show from UTT. I was like, oh, I wonder what it is. And I was like, oh, huh.
And they've got us both involved in their new project as well.
Draftomania, I think it is.
Draftomania, they're calling it.
Yeah. Me and Glenn will be going one-on-one in a draft of the 1995 WF roster, and I can't fucking wait.
I've already done WCW 1991 against Witticisms of Ben or whatever he's calling himself.
Yeah, Ben, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that, taking you on in the draft.
The new generation draft. That's gonna be fun.
Cool. There's a new episode of
the Doctor Who podcast with Danny Inside. That's on SJP World Media. Check it out.
Their new episode, they've gone back to the very beginnings. It's a William Hart new episode they're reviewing, or a serial that they're reviewing this week called The Ark. And also DDT Wrestling with DC and Doc. Can't forget those two guys.
Cannot forget those two lovely gentlemen. And make sure you check out SportsWire Radio. Give our buddy Thomas Bryce a follow on all social media. Check him out on YouTube. That's SportsWire Radio with a Z. And check out the website, sportswireradio.org. Give all that a listen. And make sure you give the other member of our podcast team, the Mayor of Canton, a follow on the Twitter X. He's at Mayor of Canton. It is not at Mayor of Canton, Ohio, no matter what he tells you. It's at Mayor of Canton. He does a meal with the mayor every Wednesday where he tries fast food. So 1, you don't have to, or 2, maybe you'll find something new out, like a fucking chicken pizza from KFC. So check that out.
I looked. We don't do them over here.
Well, that's because they don't want you to die like they want us to die.
Yeah, it's probably illegal.
Yeah, they probably has shit in it that you're not allowed to have. Yeah. Yeah. But I think that that is not all. Make sure you check out the other projects we got. As I said, the Mayor of Superstars episode right now, if you get on YouTube, not only can you listen to us make jokes about a 1988 episode of Superstars, but you can also watch right along with us. You can watch along the Spotify app too if you've got that, or you can listen on whatever app you got there. You don't have to watch along to enjoy it. I promise you don't. You'll still laugh either way. And make sure, of course, you check out the Life and Times of Psycho Sid. The new episode will be out. It's out now because we're going to record it right when I get done with this. So that is it.
We do recommend you watch that.
Wait, you definitely, that is also available always on YouTube and always on Spotify as well. And I would definitely, I don't even send that to Sports Wire Radio because it's not worth having it on the radio.
It's just us laughing a lot and going,
it's just giggles. Yeah, most of the time. So that's it. That is all. The only thing left to do is have Glenn say goodbye.
Goodbye.